You are about to start your first new job after college. You are serious about achieving your potential. You need to hear this. In my professional experience, I've watched hundreds of entry-level college grads begin work at corporations across industries. Most have no strategy. I've watched many high-potential young people get stuck after a few years. The company moved them to an area of little interest, placed them where they lost sight of their career progression. I'd like to share some thoughts on a model that I've also shared with my team and people throughout my career that's helped them see the bigger picture for how things work in the corporate world and have a great career. Hi, I'm Paul Malutnock. You've probably had assistance from your high school guidance counselor. You've had help from college placement. But once you enter the workforce, you're on your own. There's no one but you that has your best interest in mind. Human resources will be helpful to you, but remember they work for the company. You must have a personal career plan. Now, I've had 40 years of experience working at large companies, corporations. I was a senior level executive, senior vice president of strategic planning of a $3 billion company. I've held positions as an officer in the Air Force, department store industry, photographic industry, the footwear industry, and consumer electronics. Literally hundreds of high potential new recruits that came into the companies that I worked at, and most of them have no strategy. They relied completely on the company to move their career along. The one thing I will say before we get into the butterfly understanding is don't focus in your early career on money, position status, or a great sounding title. That's not the way to go. Now, the butterfly effect, if you may recall, it's from physics chaos theory, and it serves as a metaphor for life in a chaotic world. Specifically, it suggests that small events can have very large effects. The model that I'm going to describe relates to your career and suggests that a seemingly small thing or change in the way you look at your career can have a profound effect on your ability to meet your professional goals. Now, the first stage is called the caterpillar stage. It's a stage of discovery and looking towards forward for your tipping point. Stage 2 is the tipping point. It's the breakout. It's where you confirm your value to the company and to your industry in who you really are. And stage 3 is called the butterfly stage. That's where you create your own high-value career. So let's look at stage 1 first. This is you now. Maybe you've just been in the company for a short time, or you just got an interview and you're ready to start. This is about discovery and strategy towards the tipping point. Early in your years, I would say anyway from the beginning to 5 to 7 years, you're going to be in this stage. If you don't follow this, you're going to potentially be stuck somewhere, stagnated for a long time, wishing you could enjoy your job more, be respected, and earn a salary consistent with your true value. First 3 to 5 years, you'll discover your path that belongs exclusively to you alone. You have to discover it. Learn how the company works. Ask questions. You must think beyond what your boss is telling you to do. In other words, you got to do your job really well, but you have to think beyond that. You'll see deeper in the company. You have a better vantage point than even the senior executives have because you're in it. HR will help you, but if you remember, they only work for the company. You need to keep a journal in this stage of your progress and your plan along the way, adjusting it for things that you see different. Your wage increases are not linear, but they will come. You've got to get to stage 2. You've got to get to the breakout stage, and that's when you worry more about money. The key here is that you're intentional about your own career. As much work that you're going to do for that company, you need to do for yourself. Let's look at stage 2. Stage 2, I call the breakout. It's that star right in the middle. It confirms your value to the company and the industry. Here is where you meet your success. You've solved a problem for the company. You've shown them your value. It's a critical need to get involved in the company to the extent that you get close to maybe a situation of a problem that you see, that maybe the company heads see, but you see it a little bit more clearly. You keep maneuvering yourself and get close to that. Now, I'll give you some examples of some of the people, and most of them were in a director level, which might be 5 years in the company. Okay, they weren't vice presidents, but this is what they did. There was one person who was a director of merchandise, and she understood the problems. She understood the ideas that she saw from merchandise. She actually left the company and started her own unique retail outlet that grew to over 400 stores. Highly successful. But she learned things in the company. She learned the situation, the problems, maybe that they wouldn't solve, but she knew how to do it. So that's just an option. She was successful, not in the company, but she found success. Another one was a director of IT. He solved an innovative, industry-leading inventory management problem. He created a system. He developed it even when he wasn't in that position, and he was able to maneuver himself into that position, created this thing completely, and was promoted, and then offered a job, a bigger job at his company, and one from another company in the industry because they saw what he had done. A third I'll give you was an entry-level attorney, corporate attorney, and they saw an acquisition that was happening. They identified the skill sets that other company could bring them, put together a plan that would help both companies grow, and he was actually promoted so far that he ended up running that new company as a lawyer. And then the last one that I'll give you was a manager of the web services for the company. And she saw that she needed to make a different kind of move. She saw what was going on. She needed to get an MBA. She had a master's in something related, but she left. She got into Harvard. She graduated, and she went to work for McKinsey and is making high dollars now. Companies know the problems. They could see the problems that they have, but they need someone who I can identify the real breakout of that problem and offer a creative solution. You become, in this stage, critical stage, you become differentiated from all your competition, from all the other people that are directors or whatever level you might be at. Not because of your hours worked, because you came in on a Saturday or a Sunday, but because you identified something and you actually put it into work. Your true value to any organization will be manifested. It will be greater than you ever thought. Stage 3, then, is your final stage. This is where you blossom. This is where you get to the butterfly. Okay? You went from a moth to coming out of the cocoon and now to the butterfly. You have momentum. You have reputation now. You can now write your own ticket. You can create your own high value. This is where you have your greatest earnings. You know, all of the earnings you might have had in the first 7 years won't compare to this. Once you've transformed yourself to the butterfly part of the strategy, many roads will be open. That's why all those lines show up on the little illustration there. You can set your own direction. Many people that have gotten to stage 2 have gone into multiple different kind of categories that they didn't even have a skill set, but they were trusted by the company. Now I have more examples and so forth that I will be illustrating maybe later in a publication or a video. And the advice that I'd like to leave you in conclusion is don't leave your own path to chance. Create your own path. If it's not going in your direction, make a change somehow, maybe within the company. Make your own story and do it to your advantage. Keep your strategy top of mind. Keep your journal going. Follow the strategy, and you'll be much better off overall in your total career. You'll have great success and fulfillment. Thank you very much.